Good evening, dear CA, CS, and CMA aspirants. I'm assuming that most of you are in the inter or CS executive level, and you are here to attend the complete series of the ratio analysis that I have been covering. The language that I take the sessions in is 100% English, so that it is helpful for all. The more you prepare in English, the better it is for you all, because ultimately exam हमें English में ही लिखना है. But even otherwise, अगर आप लोगों को कुछ भी problem लगती है, if you want me to stop and explain something, you can tell me over the chat. Okay, and if there's any feedback, you can let me know through chat. Here's Satyam Mishra is there, who will be helping me with the session, okay, in case you need any sort of help. And for all those people who have joined this session for the first time, uh, this is a complete series and I will be covering the complete ratio analysis. 3 sessions इस series में already हो चुके हैं, and these session recordings are available on YouTube and Superprof's Facebook channel also. Okay. Apart from that, you can also join the Telegram group. Let me share the Telegram link. Okay. So you can join this Telegram channel for all the updates. ना सिर्फ रेशियो एनालिसिस या फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट का, सुपर प्रॉप्स काफ़ी सारे फ्री सेशंस कंडक्ट कर रहा है. Like tomorrow there will be a session on tax, same time 6:30 p.m. by Ashish Devlasi sir. Okay, and that too on amendments. इंटर लेवल के लिए लॉ के भी अमेंडमेंट्स काफ़ी सारे हैं सेशंस जो प्रोफेसर दिव्य मिगलानी ने करे हुए हैं. एंड इफ यू विल कीप अटेंडिंग दीज सेशंस, आपको काफ़ी हेल्प मिलेगी, काफ़ी गाइडेंस मिलेगी. तो टेलीग्राम चैनल मैंने आप लोगों को भेजा है. व्हाट्सएप चैनल्स भी सत्यम कैन शेयर और आई विल शेयर शॉर्टली. बट बिफोर much any further delay, first we will start with the session. तो देखिए, जब हम सेशन की बात करते हैं, पहले 3 सेशन में हम लोगों ने एक ओवरव्यू पढ़ चुके हैं, एक बेसिक्स पढ़ चुके हैं. हम लोगों ने काफ़ी सारे रेशियोज़ कवर कर चुके हैं, कवरेज रेशियोज़ तक हम पढ़ चुके हैं, राइट? अब जो हम करेंगे दैट इज़ द टर्नओवर एंड द लिक्विडिटी रेशियोज़. देखिए, ऑनलाइन जब क्लास चल रही है तो बेटर रहेगा अगर आप लोग अपनी वीडियोज़ को ऑन करके और अपनी वीडियो पे ध्यान लगाने के बजाय स्क्रीन पे ज़्यादा ध्यान लगाएँगे, उससे ज़्यादा फ़ायदा रहेगा आपको. ऑलराइट, तो ये आप बेनिफिट के लिए हो रहा है सेशन, एंड इट विल बी बेटर अगर आप लोग ज़्यादा ध्यान से पढ़ेंगे. आई एम श्योर जो स्टूडेंट्स बार-बार सेशंस में आ रहे हैं, दे आर फाइंडिंग इट सो यूज़फुल, इसीलिए बार-बार आ रहे हैं. ठीक है, सो नाउ वी विल स्टार्ट. आज हम पढ़ेंगे लिक्विडिटी रेशियोज, एंड बिफोर वी स्टडी लिक्विडिटी रेशियोज वी विल कवर द बैलेंस शीट एस्पेक्ट. ओके, hello students. So before we move further, we will first study what are the different aspects of balance sheet, and how we will use them in the ratios to come. So as you know, next we need to study liquidity ratios, but before we study them, we will first look at your balance sheet. Now balance sheet, how does it typically look like? You have your liabilities on the left hand side. You have assets on the right hand side. Okay. Okay. So on your liabilities side, the first thing that comes is your shareholder fund. Then you also have your long-term debt, and you have the current liabilities. All right. On the asset side, what you have is the fixed assets. Okay. And your current assets. Now these fixed assets, these are those assets which the company does not have any intention to convert for quick cash. All right. And these may be values like your land and building, right? Or you can say plant and machinery, things which are they cannot be sold or converted to cash easily, because the company does not have that intention. All right. So these are your fixed assets, whereas current assets, okay, and here your furniture or others may also be there. All right. In current assets, however, what is included is those items which can be readily converted into cash. So line items like stock, debtors, okay, if there is any bills receivable, okay, if there are any cash balance, any prepaid expenses, okay, all these things come under the current assets. Okay. Now, just like you have assets which can be used for long term or short term, similarly you also have these items on liability side. So basically, whether it is shareholders fund or the long term debt. Shareholders fund means the owner's fund, right? And long term debt means the money that you have taken from banks for long term. These are long term liabilities. However, there may be very short term borrowings, immediate from creditors you might have. Those are your current liabilities, okay? Short term loans and liabilities. So now let's see what different items can come in these blocks. So in shareholders fund, you already know items, information like equity share capital can come, or if there is preference share capital, then it may come. In many companies this may not be there, okay. Whatever reserves and surplus is there, that will come, okay. In long term debts, whatever debt has been taken from the in term of the term loan, or in terms of by debtors, that will come. Okay. And in your current liabilities, the short-term borrowings, information like, see, here you had your bills receivable. So here it will be bills payable. Okay. Or if you owe any money to the creditors, all right, then you have any outstanding expenses of any kinds, or if there is, any kind of bank overdraft. So those things will come here. All right. Another thing which we already know is that the summation of liabilities has to come the same as the total assets. Okay, total assets is always equal to total liabilities for the balance sheet in any company. All right. So keeping all these things in mind, now we will study the liquidity ratios. So now let's talk about the different ratios. Now when you're talking about liquidity ratios, okay, what does this mean? This is also called as short-term solvency ratios. Okay, short-term solvency ratios. Now the first ratio in this is your current ratio. Okay, and whenever you are talking about liquidity ratio, because you are talking about short-term, so you remember when I was discussing this balance sheet, I told you that current assets and current liabilities, these are the ones which are which can be converted to cash quickly. So your current assets divided by your current liabilities will give your current ratio. Okay. So let's say if there is an organization in which you have current assets of 100 lakh and current liabilities of, let's say, 50 lakh. All right. So the ratio becomes 2 times. Now, if it is 2 times, it is good. It's the optimum, kind of ratio to have for a company. Because in this case, for every 1 rupee of your liability, you have 2 rupees of assets, right? Of assets to bear your liability. So this is a kind of a good ratio to have for any organization. Archana, you are asking about liquidity ratios. So see, liquidity ratios are short term solvency ratios. ठीक है, इसका क्या मतलब होता है कि अगर आपकी कंपनी को नियर फ्यूचर में किसी को, इफ यू नीड टू डिसॉल्व द कंपनी, तो डू यू हैव enough assets and enough money to pay to all the creditors? ठीक है, तो इसलिए शॉर्ट टर्म सॉल्वेंसी जो है आपकी कंपनी का फाइनेंशियल स्टैंडर्ड, जो डेटर्स हुए वो आपको कितना पैसा क्रेडिट पे दे सकते हैं, डेट आपको कितना दे सकते हैं, उनके लिए दिस इज रेलेवेंट। ओके, एंड सबसे पहला इसमें जो रेशियो होता है दैट इज करंट रेशियो। अब जो करंट रेशियो है उसको हम डिटरमाइन करते हैं करंट एसेट्स डिवाइडेड बाय करंट लाइबिलिटीज। करंट एसेट्स में, जैसा कि मैंने आपको बैलेंस शीट में बताया है, करंट एसेट्स में होता है आपका स्टॉक्स, डेटर्स, बिल रेसिड्यूज, रिसीवेबल, मतलब जो आपको पैसा इमीडिएटली मिलना चाहिए। लेकिन व्हेन इट कम्स टू स्टॉक, ठीक है, इवन दो इट इज इंक्लूडेड इन द करंट एसेट्स, बट स्टॉक को डिसॉल्व करना, मतलब स्टॉक्स को बेचना, उसको कैश में कन्वर्ट करना एक बहुत ही कम्बरसम प्रोसेस होता है। तो वो इवन दो करंट एसेट्स में इंक्लूडेड होता है, वो कैन नॉट बी कन्वर्टेड टू कैश ऑन अ वेरी क्विक टाइम। तो इसलिए जब हम बात करते हैं करंट एसेट्स की, तो हम उसमें से स्टॉक की वैल्यू ऐड नहीं करते। ओके, सॉरी। So Archana, is that clear to you? So now we'll start with the second ratios. You have, you can call it, liquid ratio, or you can call it quick ratio, or you may also call it acid test ratio. Okay, and as the name suggests, what you do in this is you take liquid assets by current liability, or in some cases you may also take liquid assets by liquid liability. Okay, now what does this mean when you say liquid asset? What are you talking about? Okay, first of all, you can also call it as quick asset, liquid asset or quick asset. Similarly, liquid assets or quick assets divided by liquid liability or quick liability. Okay. When you're talking about liquid asset, what you are trying to say is these current assets minus stock and minus prepaid expenses, if any. Okay, so why? Because when it comes to stock, right, converting stock to cash is not a short term or very quick process. All right, so essentially, even though we say that stock is kind of a current asset which can be converted into cash immediately, it is not one of the liquid or quick assets. All right, so whenever you're talking about liquid ratio or quick ratio, you can say that it is equal to your liquid asset divided by current liability, or it is current asset minus stock minus prepaid expenses divided by your current liabilities. You just need to understand here. Okay, don't worry about the handwriting and everything. I have covered all these things in the PDF clearly. All right, so is this clear? Now there may be some case in which you also subtract, right, the bank overdraft from the current liability. All right. And if you do that, then the liability that you have is liquid liability or quick liability. All right. So these both values will come different, but depending on whatever is given in the question, if it is mentioned that you have to, that the quick liability will be calculated, not including the bank OD, or bank OD has been, let go or something like that. In that case, you can use the second formula. Okay. So let's just quickly cover liquidity ratio. It means the ability of the business to pay its short-term liabilities. All right. Now, if a company is not able to pay off its short-term liabilities, that means its credibility and credit rating will be poor. All right. And especially people who lend to the organization for a short term, or those creditors, they are very much interested in knowing the liquidity ratios, because they whatever they are giving, right, that is at financial stack at stake. All right. Now whether it is, as I said, optimum, 2 times. If your current ratio is 2 times, then it is optimum. So neither sufficient liquidity or excess liquidity is good. You have to have the optimum liquidity. It should not be too less, it should not be too high. Now the kind of ratios that we'll be studying are current ratio, quick ratio, which we have already studied, and the third one is net working capital ratio. Okay, current ratio we have already discussed, that is current assets divided by current liabilities. Okay, ideal ratio is 2. 1.5 times is also acceptable. Okay. The second one is your asset test ratio, liquidity ratio, or quick ratio. As I said, you divide the liquid assets by the current liabilities, and liquid assets you will say is your current assets minus stock minus prepaid expenses. Okay. It may also be that sometimes you use the formula liquid assets divided by liquid liability if the question is given, that in the question it is given that you have to take liquid liabilities, or that bank overdraft and cash credit facilities are to be excluded. Okay. So in that case, you will, liquid liabilities is equal to your current liability minus bank OD. Okay. So here I've mentioned liquid assets equal current asset minus inventory minus prepaid expenses, and liquid liability equals current liability minus bank overdraft minus cash credit if any. Alright. Now the third kind of ratio, then you have your gross working capital. Okay, which is nothing but the summation of your current assets, the total current assets. All right. And you have net working capital, or simply working capital, which is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. All right. If you're talking about gross working capital, then it will be the complete total as current assets, total current assets. Okay. This is the summation of all these. And if you're talking about net working capital, or even if just working capital, then it will be your current assets minus current liabilities. So next we'll study about turnover ratios. All right. So till now we have covered the liquidity ratios. Okay, you are asking for me to send the PDF in WhatsApp. Okay, I will send over the PDF and the playlist link on Telegram as well as WhatsApp. All right. Is there any issue that you have faced, that any doubts that you guys have in the liquidity ratio so far? आप सब लोगों को समझ आया? तक जो हमने पढ़ा आप लोगों को क्लियर है? देखिए आगे बढ़ने का कोई फायदा नहीं होगा अगर हमको समझ ही नहीं आएगा। तो अगर आपको थोड़ा सा भी कहीं पे भी डाउट है तो आप पूछ लीजिए, तो मैं अभी एक्सप्लेन कर दूंगी। टेलीग्राम लिंक, ठीक है। लीजिए, टेलीग्राम का लिंक भी भेज दिया। ठीक है। So now we will continue with the turnover ratios. Turnover ratios. Now turnover, you know that this talks about your net sales, right? All right. So basically whenever you're talking about any turnover ratios, no, you are essentially talking about whatever aspect you can have with respect to the turnover of the company. All right. So in these ratios, in the numerator, mostly turnover will come. All right. And in denominator, you will, utilize different aspects, whether you are talking about the total assets of the company or the fixed assets turnover ratio or the working capital. Okay. Or you can also take into account about inventory. Okay. So basically what you're trying to figure out in these turnover ratios, when you're talking about turnover ratios, what you're trying to figure out is for each asset, you know, or for each rupee of your working capital, how much of a turnover, right? What is the sales that each rupee as an asset, as a fixed asset, as a total asset, or as a working capital is generating? How much revenue or turnover is per rupee of my working capital or per rupee of my asset generating? All right. So let's begin. But before we discuss these ratios, right? One key thing that we have to remember is, let's go back to our discussion about the example that we had taken, okay, and what are the how the balance sheet for that company looks like, right? So if you'll remember, all right, that on the liability side we have equity share capital, of 100 lakh rupees, all right. The reserves and surplus amounting to 50 lakh. Then there was preference share capital, which was also 50 lakh. Okay. Debentures costing around 100 lakh rupees, and the term loan which was taken at 200 lakh rupees. All right. So let's also assume that apart from these, the current liabilities, that is your creditors, amount to around 100 lakh rupees. All right. Thereby totally bringing this to what? Your 600 lakh rupees, right? Which was also your asset amount, if you remember. It will taken that the total assets is around 600 lakh. So on the asset side you have your fixed assets and your current assets. Okay, and current assets include your stock, okay, or your debtors amount or your cash amount. All right, so let's assume that that the stock that you have is around 150 lakh rupees, debtors around 50 lakh, and cash you are keeping around 100 lakh rupees. All right, so therefore your current assets amount to rupees 300 lakhs. Okay, and because the asset and liability side should be equal, so both sides are 600 lakh as discussed. All right, so basically current assets coming down to around 300 lakh rupees. Therefore fixed assets also come around 300 lakh itself. Okay, all right. So another thing that you want to consider or learn here is that when we are talking about the working capital, what we are trying to say is the value of your current assets minus your current liabilities. Okay, this is what determines your working capital. So in this case, 300 lakhs, that is the current assets, minus 100 lakh, that is your current liability, that will be your working capital. Okay, so with this we come we start to study the various ratios. As was discussed briefly, the first ratio that we have to study is total assets turnover ratio. Now what does this mean? That your turnover divided by the total assets. Okay, and this generally indicates that what is the amount of turnover, all right, that your total assets generate. Okay. So in this case the turnover is around 2000 lakh rupees, right, that we had taken. Okay, and total assets are around 600 lakh. The value is coming to 3.33 times. All right, now this is a good ratio to have. Why? Because your total assets are generating turnover that is around 3.33 times. Now what does this mean? Now this means that if your total assets are rupee 1, then the turnover that you are generating is 3.33. That means if you have 100 rupees of worth of assets, then your turnover will be 333. Okay, so this is a good value to have. The higher, the higher the total assets turnover ratio, the higher this value, the better it is. Right. Now the next one is fixed assets turnover ratio. Now again, fixed assets also we have found out the value, which is coming down to 300, and therefore this value comes to be 6.67 times. Now the same discussion goes here also, that the higher the fixed asset turnover value, the better it is. So having a turnover of 6.67 times is good, because for each value of your fixed assets, that is whether you're investing in your building or your machinery, whatever, all right, whatever your fixed assets, the amount that you are spending on your fixed assets, they are generating a turnover of around 6.67 times. All right, so any turnover ratio, the higher it is, the better the situation. All right. The third one comes to working capital turnover ratio. Now we had determined that working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities. That means current assets are around 300 lakh rupees, current liabilities to the creditors are 100 lakh rupees. Okay, so working capital comes to 200 lakh. All right, so this will be turnover divided by working capital. As I had mentioned, in turnover ratios, in the numerator you mostly have turnover, and in the denominator you have the different values. So this becomes 2000 divided by 200, which is 10 times. All right, which means that if you invest, you have the working capital of 1 rupee, you will be able to generate turnover of 10 rupees. Okay, and for 100 rupees of working capital you will have 1000 rupees of your turnover. All right, now the next ratio that we have is inventory ratio, inventory turnover ratio. Okay, now before we start studying the stock turnover ratio or the inventory turnover ratio, I would like to ask you something very general about your about the business. Okay, all right, so let's say that when you're running a business, okay, what you do is you get goods, okay, worth rupees, let's say 100 lakh rupees, okay, and you buy them in anticipation that you will get an order. Okay, so basically you purchase these goods. Okay, now because these are goods and you do not have any readily available order, so what you will do, you will stock them. And what is the value that you are stocking? Obviously the complete 100 lakh rupees, right? Now once you will, once you get an order and you will sell, then whatever price that you sell it at, that would be the sale price, but the cost of goods sold would be, let's say, your 100 lakh rupees, right? Because that was the cost of the goods which have been sold. All right, so let's say you repeat this cycle, that you keep buying goods of 100 lakh rupees, all right, in a year, and then you stock them, and because you're getting an order, so you sell them. All right, and you do this around 12 times in a year. Okay, you do this around 12 times in a year. So what would be the total amount that you have purchased? 12 times into 100 lakh. So 1200 lakh rupees worth of goods sold, the total cost of goods sold, or the total stock that you would have purchased, right, would be your 1200 lakh rupees. All right. However, the average stock that you have to purchase will be what? 1200 divided by how many times did you do this? You did this 12 times. So 1200 divided by 12 times, therefore 100 lakh rupees worth of average stock you are keeping. You are keeping the average stock. All right. Now what does this mean? Now this means that right once you are purchasing, okay, in a year, because you are doing this 12 times, right? So basically in a year you have 12 months. Okay, and if you're doing an activity 12 times, so therefore you have to do this activity monthly, right? So 1 month is the time when this cycle of purchase, stock, and sell, it is completed. So this cycle, that this thing that we have calculated, that is 1 month, is your inventory holding period, right? It means the cycle in which the time in which this whole cycle completes, that is purchase, stock, and sale, that is the inventory holding period. All right, and that is calculated by whether you say 12 months, or you say 360 days, or you say 365 days, whatever is given in the question, that divided by how many times you were told that the cycle was done. All right. Now, this is the example that I have taken. I told you that this cycle is repeated 12 times. Okay. What if you did not have this information? Right? Because here I already told you, right? In that case, how you calculate your stock turnover ratio? Stock turnover ratio. Okay. So your stock turnover ratio can be calculated by getting the total cost of goods sold divided by average stock. All right. Now, what does this mean? What is the time? All right. Or what is the number? What is the number of times that the cycle of your stocking to turnover, right? Stocking till purchase or sale is completed. All right. So in the example that we had taken, it was done. The total cost of goods sold was 1200 lakh rupees. Okay. Average stock came down to 100 lakh. So therefore, this stock turnover ratio came to be 12. All right. And therefore, when we wanted to calculate the inventory holding period, all right, what came down was 12 months divided by your stock turnover ratio, that means 12 months divided by 12, which was 1, which means that in a period of 1 year, right, the whole cycle of purchase, stock, and sale was completed 12 times, and therefore the frequency of how often this whole cycle was done is monthly. Okay, so the frequency is monthly. That means in every month, you know, you hold the inventory and then you're able to lose it in terms of selling it. All right. Now remember, the smaller inventory holding period, the better your function is. All right, better your activity. Why? Because see, when you're doing a business, you do not want to stock goods. That means you keep investing a lot. All right, your working capital, your assets, you are investing that money in some goods which are not being sold. All you have to do is store them or stock them, right? So this is money, it's kind of locked. That money is locked, you cannot use it. Therefore, the smaller inventory holding period, the better it is. Or in other terms, the higher your stock turnover ratio, the better it is. All right, if it is 12 times, if the stock turnover ratio is 12 times, okay, that means for the organization, if your stock turnover ratio is 12 times, that means the whole cycle of sale, the purchasing of goods, stocking them and sale is done monthly, right? If it is only 6 times, that means the cycle is that of 2 months. All right, if it is, let's say, 24, what would it mean? Can you tell me? If it is 24, what does it mean? It means that the whole cycle is within 15 days. I'm sorry. That means that the whole cycle, if your stock turnover ratio is 24 times, okay, that means that the complete cycle of sale and purchase of goods, purchase of inventory, stocking it and sale is of 15 days only. All right, so you do not have to keep inventory for a lot of time. All right, so the higher stock turnover ratio, the better it is. 12 would mean 1 month, 6 times would mean 2 months, and so on. All right, now in the example that we had taken, the very initial example, we know that the total cost of goods sold, we know that the total cost of goods sold came down to 1400. Okay, now you'll tell me that we did not find what the average stock value was. Okay, and ideally you can find the average stock value by also finding closing stock, right, minus your opening stock divided by 2. Okay, so whatever that means, the inventory that you have used divided by 2 will give you the average stock. All right, so let's take in this case, if the example was around 230, the value was around 230, this would mean this would come down to around 6 point something, right? So you can assume 6 times was the stock turnover ratio for this company that we had taken. All right, and this means that the cycle of inventory purchase, stock, and finally goods sold, right, this will be within 2 months. All right, and this 2 months will be calculated how? 12 divided by 6. All right, now depending on whether you get in the question, whether you get that take the year of 12 months or 360 days or 365 days, that is the value that you will have to take. All right, so The stock or inventory ratio we come across is total cost of goods sold divided by average stock. All right. In our case, it is um, we've already calculated it is 1400 divided by the value that you assumed was 230, that is around 6 times, which means that the inventory holding period, which is 12 months or 360 days divided by the stock turnover ratio, or it will be what? 12 divided by 6, that means 2 months. Okay, so essentially you are keeping the cycle of 2 months between purchasing the goods and selling them, or stocking and selling them. Now, based on similar example, the same understanding, you can also calculate debtors or receivables turnover ratio and creditors creditors turnover ratio. So first let's talk about debtors or receivables turnover ratio. When we talk about the formula, the very simple formula, this will be total credit sales divided by average debtors. Now see, when you're running a business, you may have people who you are selling to, or your customers may say that today once I purchase the goods, I will not give you cash right away. All right. However, I will pay you in some time. All right. So that goes as receivable. All right. This money is something that people have to pay to you. All right, and it will come in due time. Now, what is this due time? And how does this, if you're not getting the sales in cash, against cash, then how does this credit sales fare for you? All right, that is what this turnover ratio determines. All right, so therefore, the higher this value, all right, the higher this value, that means that the total sales that you have, all right, you'll be able to get this value very quickly, right, because the cycle is running very many times. All right, so let's say in this example, right, the total credit sales. Now remember that if you do not have specifically any information about what is the cash sale versus what is the credit sale, in that case you can assume that the total sales is credit sales. All right, so let's, for our example, let's take that 2000 lakh rupees is the credit sale and the average debtors that you have is 50 lakh rupees. So that means this is 40 times. All right, that means the cycle of selling the goods, then having that period wherein you have that receivable and cash received, this whole cycle is happens 40 times within a year. And if this happens 40 times within the year, that means that the detour, that is your debtors turnover ratio, receivables turnover ratio, comes around 40 times. All right, so therefore your average collection period, will be what? Will be 360 days divided by 40, or 12 months divided by 40. That means very quickly. All right, so if you say 360 days divided by 40 times, right, that means right in 9 days you get the money that you have to get from your debtors. All right, so within 9 days you are paid for the credit sales, which is a very good number. All right, so folks, आप लोग को अभी तक समझ आया है जहां तक हमने पढ़ा है? मुझे लग रहा है कुछ ज्यादा आज पढ़ाई हो गई है आप लोगों को, शायद थोड़ा ध्यान नहीं लग रहा है अब। समझ आ रहा है, समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है। जब हम थ्योरी पार्ट, हम ये सारे क्वेश्चन समझ पाएँगे, तभी हम आगे प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम कर पाएँगे। खलील, डू यू हैव अ क्वेश्चन? आप अपनी चैट पर आप लिखकर पूछ सकते हैं। ओके, तो एनीवे मैंने पीडीएफ वाला लिंक भी भेज दिया है, वहाँ से डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। एंड प्लेलिस्ट भी दे दी है तो ताकि आप पहले वाले सेशंस भी देख लें और इनका रिवीजन कर पाएँ। ऑलराइट, अभी तक हम लोगों ने पढ़ा है डेटर्स और रिसीवेबल टर्नओवर रेशियो तक। इसके आगे हम कल कंटिन्यू करेंगे बिकॉज़ नेक्स्ट सेशन अभी हमको कंटिन्यू करना है। ओके, नेक्स्ट सेशन फाइनल के लिए होगा। अ, हम रेशियो एनालिसिस का नेक्स्ट सेशन मोस्टली मंडे को रखेंगे। उसके अंदर हम ये बाकी के पॉइंट्स कवर करेंगे एंड देन प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करेंगे। वी विल कवर द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन कंप्लीटली। ठीक है, उसमें सारे रेशियोज निकालेंगे हम बैलेंस शीट और ट्रेडिंग पी&एल अकाउंट को देख के। अभी तक आपको कुछ भी क्वेश्चन है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं। All right. So then we will close the session now. All right. Thank you everyone. And this session is also available on YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. निशी, आज के लिए we will stop here. Further हम लोग मंडे को कंटिन्यू करेंगे यहीं से। बाकी के रेशियोज, टर्नओवर रेशियोज कंप्लीट करेंगे एंड देन प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम भी सॉल्व कर लेंगे क्विक रिवीजन करके। ठीक है, तब तक आप ये सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स रिवाइज करके आइएगा क्योंकि मैं चाहूंगी कि जब मंडे को हम लोग क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर रहे हैं तो आप लोगों को ऑलरेडी सारे आंसर्स पता हो और सारे फॉर्मूला पता हो कि कैसे सॉल्व करना है, तो आप लोगों की प्रैक्टिस भी साथ के साथ हो जाएगी। ऑलराइट, थैंक यू एवरीवन। एंड कल इस टाइम पर होगा आशीष सर का टैक्स का सेशन, तो आप लोग आ जाइएगा। एंड ही ऑल्सो टीचर्स वेरी नाइसली, बहुत ही अच्छे से वो सारी अमेंडमेंट्स आपको बताएंगे। काफी इंटरेस्टिंग सेशन होते हैं आशीष सर के। थैंक यू एंड हैव अ नाइस डे।